Welcome back to the More YouTube channel. It's Chris back with a bit of a rumour has it and a bit of a thought of the day, really. So it's all about the breaking news that's doing the rounds around Newcastle United and the socials, that apparently Newcastle are very close to wrapping up a deal for Dominic Calvert-Lewin from Everton. Now, we've talked about old DCL before on the rumour has it videos, and I gave you my opinion then, and I'll give you it now as well. I'm distinctly unimpressed with this sign, if I'm brutally honest with you. The reported fee, I think, is about 20 million quid, but the bit that really just makes me wonder what the fuck, if I'm honest with you, about this one is these reported links that apparently were willing to let Yankuba Minteh go the opposite direction to Everton, which I really don't understand at all. Now listen, before everyone starts jumping in the comments, I appreciate the kid hasn't even kicked a ball for Newcastle yet, but what we saw last season on loan for Feyenoord is more than enough to kind of wet your whistle that he might actually be a really good player. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is on the slide. He's going down as a player. He's not the same player he was a few years ago. I think he's only hit double figures maybe once or twice in his whole career. I think Mark's a stat man. He'll probably correct me in a little clip in the corner here. But I'm just distinctly impressed with Dominic Calvert-Lewin as a player. Injuries a real concern there. So what is he coming in for? Is he coming in to be the third choice striker alongside Alexander Isak and Wilson, who both have injury concerns? Certainly Wilson. Is he coming to replace Wilson? So you're swapping an injury-prone striker for another injury-prone striker. I've seen people talking about stats, how Dominic Calvert-Lewin got 8 goals in 38 games, and if he was in a better team, he'd get more goals. Callum Wilson got 10 goals in 26 appearances. So for me, you're downgrading effectively. And yes, the guy's 5 years younger than Callum Wilson, but is he as good? Is he as effective? And I'm just really unimpressed with this signing, if I'm brutally honest with you. If Newcastle pull this off, you know, in isolation as a single player, then I can understand it improving the squad depth in terms of having another option. But if we, for some reason, allow this to happen with Yankuba Minteh going the other way, I really don't understand it at all. I don't think Everton can afford Yankuba Minteh, if I'm brutally honest with you, but there seems to be a growing feeling that we're going to sell this kid to cash in for PSR and FFP, and I kind of get it, I understand it, but it's really disappointing and frustrating because it seems like we're using that money to cash in on a player to play right wing, for example, for 50 or 60 million quid, and how do we know this kid isn't going to be that player when he gets a start? We just don't know. He's only 19. He could be even better than that. You know, you look at the players linked. You got Pedro Neto and Buembo, obviously Elise, who's going to Bayern Munich by the looks of it. You know, who's to say that Minteh, you know, half a season into his Premier League career might be better than all those fucking players? Nobody knows. I mean, this could all be speculation. It was brought to you by the journalistic marvel that is Luke Edwards, who was convinced we were signing Barella from Inter Milan to the point where I think he was buying a bag of chips down fucking Seton Sluice Key, I think, according to fucking Luke Edwards, and it never happened, did it? So I kind of hold faith that maybe this is not going to be as kind of nailed on as it seems to be, but there's loads of people reporting on it. Normally there's no smoke without fire. But for me, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a really, really underwhelming sign. I said the same thing about James Trafford. I understand the James Trafford thing with him being young and having potential and everything else, and he may turn into a really, really good goalkeeper one day. Yes, he had a tough season in the Premier League after a really successful season, you know, with Bolton in League One, and then obviously playing for England under 21s. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin looks like he's had his time in the limelight, and he's really sliding. I know Eddie's got this great track record of improving players. Look what he did with Joe Linton, Sean Longstaff, Mickey Almiron. But I would be really, really disappointed in the club and the structure of the club if we allowed this young, exciting talent to disappear off into the ether without kicking a ball, and we still had average players like Miguel Almiron on the books. I don't understand that. It's all gone a bit quiet on Miguel Almiron in terms of moving from the club. Saudi Arabia were linked and everything else, but nothing seems to be happening. I appreciate that Euros and Copa America are both on, so I don't think we'll see much movement in terms of players out and players in. But this Dominic Calvert-Lewin thing really uninspires me. I think if we sign him, I don't want to write him off. I think he'll get more injuries. I think he's an injury-prone player. I think he's at that stage of his career where he's just picking up knocks and niggles. And I think if we got rid of Callum Wilson, who is fantastic, but yes, injury-prone, we're just going to replace him with a kid who's more injury-prone than Callum Wilson and probably not as good of a finisher. So, yeah, a bit underwhelmed about this, really. More kind of a bit annoyed, I suppose, about the whole Yankuba Minteh thing. I understand the PSR and FFP things, but this is a shining example how it's utter fucking bollocks. You get a 19-year-old kid in for 5 or 6 million quid, great bit of business by the club, whoever it was, Ashworth, Steve Nixon, I don't know, and then he goes on loan to Feyenoord, he's fucking brilliant, we should be bringing him back and saying, hey, what a great bit of business we've done there. But we're now thinking of cashing in on the kid to help fund the summer transfer fee. We've got the richest fucking owners in the world. And, you know, we're talking about signing Dominic Calvert-Lewin for 20 million quid because we can't afford to go and splash 60 or 70 million quid in a proper striker. And we're talking about getting rid of this young, exciting talent to fund the summer transfer window. This whole thing is just a complete and utter stitch-up to protect the elite clubs who sit at the top of the table, the greedy six who always want more. If this was a fucking Toby Carvery, these wankers would pick the entire bird up and fuck off to the table and eat it. They wouldn't be asking for a slice. They want the whole goddamn thing, and it stinks as shit, and I fucking hate it. But I'm really annoyed about this, to be honest with you. The Dominic Calvert-Lewin thing is really uninspiring. If we do end up selling Minteh and cashing in, yes, I understand people say, well, he's never played, Chris. How can you be sad about a kid who's never played for us? But what happens if he goes on and becomes one of the best players in the fucking world at 20, 21 years old? And we could have had him. You know, we didn't. It doesn't sit well with me, to be honest with you. Let us know in the comments below what you guys think about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Are you as uninspired as I am about this? I've seen some other links to fucking Max Kilman from Wolves, and apparently talks about letting Elliot Anderson go. And I really hope this is just journalists being bored and trying to fill column inches, because if this is the kind of direction the Newcastle board are taking this summer, that they really need to slam the brakes on and turn the fuck back. But let us know in the comments below what you think about some of these mediocre targets that were being reported to and players that will be signing. Do you think they're going to improve the squad? Am I being a bit harsh? You know, do you have to be realistic here? But yeah, this to me stinks like Mike Ashley signings. I'm not very impressed with. But let us know what you guys think. We always like to hear from you. Drop a comment in the comments. Like and subscribe if you like this kind of thing. Help us get away before the season starts. We'll be back with some more content soon. Have a cracker. We'll see you later. Cheers.